Welcome to Asia News Today. Today we're travelling to Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, China and Vietnam, including one very disturbing story. Now there's plenty to talk about, so let's get started. China's top economic officials have stepped in to reassure investors, claiming that Beijing will take measures to support the Chinese economy and financial markets. The comments follow a sharp sell-off that's been partly fuelled by a reaction from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Liu He, a vice premier and economic advisor to the Communist Party executive, says the government will take measures to boost the economy in the first quarter and introduce policies that are favourable to the market. He said he's convened a meeting of the State Council's Financial Stability and Development Committee where details will be hammered out before urgent implementation. Investors in Shanghai, Hong Kong and Shenzhen, along with US-listed Chinese companies, are being spooked by China's slowing economic growth, rising inflation, the Russia-Ukraine war, and the ongoing crackdown by the CCP on previously fast-growing companies in the technology, education and property sectors. They've also been reacting to the overheated property market, which has ended up with some very high-profile defaults from some of China's biggest property developers over the past 4 months. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index yesterday gained a robust 9% after regional markets rallied in response to the announcement from Beijing. Vietnam has now scrapped quarantine and other travel red tape for foreign travellers as it attempts to fully reopen its borders after 2 years of almost no tourism into the country. But you'll need to show a negative PCR test conducted before your flight, and travellers will also need to monitor their own health during their first 10 days of their stay and notify Vietnamese authorities if they experience any symptoms of the coronavirus. Vietnam's also reinstated visa exemptions and the visa on arrival, similar to pre-pandemic status. The Vietnamese tourist industry is reported to make up around 10% of the country's GDP before the pandemic. The reopening of Vietnamese borders comes at the same time as record numbers of new COVID infections, with a daily average of 170 to 180,000 new infections over the past 2 weeks. Malaysia's experience of the COVID pandemic has cost the country a decade's worth of development and progress. This from the Umno political party deputy president. He claimed that 90% of Malay entrepreneurs were at risk of bankruptcy and business failures because of the restrictions imposed over the past 2 years. Whilst pointing out the impact of the restrictions on ethnic Malay, he also said that retirement funds were also draining as people dug into their retirement finances to survive the pandemic. Muhammad Hassan was using these statistics and comments about the impact on ethnic Malays as a reason for supporters of the UMNO political party to rally for the next set of elections in Malaysia. Motorcycles have been riding through Jakarta yesterday as Indonesia gears up to host its first Moto Grand Prix in 25 years this weekend. Indonesia has one of the world's biggest communities of motorbike and motorcycle users and bike race fans. It's got 122 million registered motorbikes. Sunday's race, the second of the 2022 MotoGP World Championship calendar, is taking place at the Mandalika International Street Circuit on Lombok, that's the island next door to Bali. The parade through Jakarta yesterday featured Spain's 6-time world champion Marc Marquez as they rode through the capital greeting Indonesian fans. They were welcomed by President Joko Widodo, himself a fan, a fellow biker and supporter of the MotoGP circuit. The race will start on Sunday at 3 p.m. Indonesian time. Just a warning that the following story may cause distress for some viewers. A Canadian man, 63-year-old Marshall Ruskin, wanted in connection with an alleged child sex trafficking ring in the Philippines, has abandoned a motion in court to demand the return of computer equipment seized during the investigation into his activities. Ruskin's been on the radar of Winnipeg police since 2011 for his alleged interest in young children. Ruskin said to have travelled to the Philippines 15 times between 2013 and 2016, according to police search warrants. He remains a free man in Canada despite being wanted on 3 arrest warrants in the Philippines issued since 2016. He's accused of paying for videos and photos of Filipino girls as young as 18 months old, whilst being sexually abused and tortured. Back in 2019, Winnipeg police issued a search warrant on the man's home in Garden City, Winnipeg, where he was living with his 28-year-old Filipino wife. Police seized his laptop, other computers and mobile phones. He's also alleged to having sent thousands of dollars to the Philippines to watch the live sexual abuse of an 11-year-old girl on Skype. Court documents have also revealed Mr. Ruskin's alleged connection with Peter Scully, arrested 7 years ago after a global manhunt and now considered one of the world's most notorious pedophiles. There's a lot of other evidence brought up in the current court proceedings that are simply too revolting and disturbing to report. The owners of entertainment venues across Thailand have reacted with cautious optimism to reports they could soon be allowed to reopen. The resumption of Thailand's nightlife is planned to be on the agenda of tomorrow's meeting of the government's COVID-19 task force, called the CCSA. Venue operators have lobbied hard over the past year, pointing out that nightlife venues are important to foreign tourism, and if the government's looking at ways to attract more visitors, it should allow bars, clubs and other entertainment venues to officially reopen. Bangkok venue operators have also been lobbying for alcohol sales to be extended beyond the current official closing time of 11 p.m. The Professional Entertainment Network, Confederation of Thailand, is also calling for nightlife performers, such as singers and musicians, to be allowed to return to work once the COVID-19 is declared endemic. Current plans from the Thai government aims to downgrade the virus to an endemic status from July the 1st. That's all the main stories from around Asia from the past 24 hours. We do this 5 days a week. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also remind you that if you'd like to get one of our Thaiger mugs, they are available. You just go to thethaiger.com, that's Thaiger, and /shop, or it's also on the menu as well. But from all of us here at Asia News Today, we'll be back with another bulletin tomorrow.